So my next question is, what do you think gave you the edge over other audio designers or candidates with your kind of first position? Eli, I'll start with you. So obviously, I know you didn't apply, you kind of just got picked from the internet, but why do you think that was?
I actually had the chance to talk to Rob Brown from Surgeon Studios about why he picked me in the end. And I think it just comes down to being a nice person, to be honest. Like, I feel like everybody has a lot of skill who wants to be in this industry. And it's just about being somebody who's like willing to learn, can take criticism, you know, it just makes somebody else's job easier, I think, at the end of the day. So yeah, I think it just comes down to being very likable, you know, and enthusiastic,
nice.
that kind of stuff.
I totally agree with that. I think it's something we always say to people is you have to be nice, you have to be likable. People have to get on with you, because otherwise, like, why would you pick to work with someone who's horrible when there's 200 other people who are basically equally as talented and nice? That's lovely. Sarah, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Very similar. I think personality plays a big role. So if you've got a strong portfolio and you've got the sound design skills down, then it's kind of about, are you going to fit into the team or not? So I think that had a part to play. But also for me, like, having experience in a different industry helps as well, just to have us like that kind of background of professional experience as well, I think. So the combination of those three things.
Yeah, great. So Katie, for you, obviously, since you're in the same company as a QA and then moving into audio, that probably gave you a big boost over if there were any potential other candidates, because you already know the team and work with them. Do you think, I mean, I feel like it's an obvious question, but do you think it helped working in the team already?
Absolutely. Like, I was able to sort of, I guess you can kind of prove yourself as like a hard worker or keen to learn, eager for all those things. But yeah, even just building relationships with the people within the company was a huge help. You know, don't make any enemies along the way, I guess. But yeah, no, it was a huge help. It was definitely probably the reason, I would say, more than anything else.
How about when you actually applied as the QA? Do you think did anything differently then to kind of stand out above the other QA designers? Called testers. Yeah.
They did say that my just having audio on the CV was something that was just different, and they didn't see it too often. My company is Dundee based, and there's no, as far as I'm aware, I think there used to be, but there's no like university that offers anything audio related in Dundee. So I think that was something that was maybe different for them to not have seen before. Yeah, that was definitely one of the reason that I got the interview, and then I think the interview just went moderately well, and they hired me. So yeah.
Well, it clearly went very well. Great. Okay, cool. That actually brings me on lovely to my next question. So thank you for that, which is I wanted to ask all of you, start to finish, what the application and interview processes were like. What can the people in the audience expect if they do manage to get through the first few stages of an application? Anyone want to go first with this one? Don't make me pick.
I can
I'll
go.
pick. Okay, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I'll go first just because I didn't really have an application or as such a formal interview for the audio designer role. It was very much I interviewed for QA. I had what's it called, like a test and then a second interview, and then I had the job. I did about a year or such in QA, and then I got basically given some audio work, and that lasted for around 6 months or so, I think. And then they really needed some audio on the game that they were pushing to release the following year. And I was essentially asked, can you do this? And I went, yes, I can. And then I got the job. That's very, I think, not
nice.
Atypical, not typical at all.
Did you think you could do it, or did you just say it and then figure out later?
I think I said something to the effect of like, I could figure out how to do it.
Okay, nice. Yes, I'm not a junior anymore, but it's similar to me. I remember because I obviously used to be a QA, and I got my first QA job with a similar kind of thing where it's you actually, how I just met someone who offered me a job there and then out of the blue about QA. And I remember doing my QA job, I did a little bit of audio on the same game I was working on, and then use that to kind of say, technically did additional sound design on this game, which obviously helped in my CV. So what, I'm going to quickly jump ahead and stay on you, Katie, for a bit, if that's right, because we're talking about it. Your transition from QA to audio, how did you find that transition? And kind of like, was there any kind of like, I guess, benefits from doing QA other than just like knowing the team, knowing the game, that you think helped with audio? Would you recommend it for others to maybe look into a career in QA beforehand?
Absolutely. I think it gave me to start my QA experience in my company, where the team that I was working with, and I wasn't working internally, I was working mostly with external clients and such. And that helped massively just to get your kind of brain around how the industry works, how to communicate effectively with people you don't meet or see on a day-to-day basis. And also just getting like the language used and the lingo kind of, in your brain a wee bit. In terms of transitioning from QA to audio, for me, it was a bit of a shock, because I went from a massive QA team with, I think there was like 20 plus, or that's massive to me, 20 plus people. And I am the only audio designer. There's nobody else that I can kind of bump ideas off of, or that I don't have anyone sort of giving me guidance from above. So it was definitely a bit of a shock in that sense. It's definitely where the imposter syndrome kind of like gets you, and you just kind of have to believe you know how to do it and whatever. So yeah, the transition was a little bit tough, and I found myself to be quite analytical. So going from something that's quite repetition based and sort of how it is, like analytical, and going from that to something more creative in a day-to-day role, I found a little challenging as well. I felt like I wasn't doing work because I was just like messing about with stuff, but it is work, and you have to tell yourself it is work. So yeah, it was definitely challenging, but it takes only a few months to get into it, and then you're fine. It's your new normal, and it comes totally totally second to you.